So there you are. The power's out. Kids are screaming because they don't have anything to do. They might be hot, they might be cold. So what do you do to keep your sanity? You have a cup of coffee, man, to get the day started, right? Nobody wants to have a brain fog or a little lack of caffeine if you're accustomed to that in the morning. Whenever you're going to be without grid power for an extended period of time, it's nice to keep your routines as normal as possible. For me, that is a cup of coffee every morning to kind of get me up and get me going. So my goal in this video is to show you 7 different ways to make coffee without grid power to cover 7 days of the week. You can choose any or all of these methods, whichever works best for you. So I tried to come up with a logical methodology for putting these in order, simplest to most difficult, cheapest to most expensive, and it wasn't a real good way because they all utilize different equipment, they take different amounts of time and that type of thing. So hopefully you'll find one that works for you. So let's get techie. The first method we're going to cover is basically canned or pre-brewed coffee that you can store away for long periods of time. The second method we're going to do is we're going to use a full-size K-Cup machine on a solar system that I have built at my house. Then we're going to use an electric kettle with a small power pack or solar generator. Then we're going to use a camp stove using wood pellets, or you can use sticks, kindling, and that type of thing if you have that available. And then we're going to use a tiny little travel stove with some liquid fuel. This is actually heat, but you could use denatured alcohol or something similar. And then we're going to use the sun oven. And then we're going to do a simple cold brew coffee that doesn't take really much equipment. So I did make one basic assumption before making this, and that is that you have potable water. If you don't have a means or method to create or store potable water, whether it be for coffee, cooking, sanitary reasons, etc., then make sure you have that squared away first and then come back to this, because if you don't have water, you got bigger problems than just making your daily coffee. Let's get started with number 1. The first thing, and one of my preferred methods for short-term power down scenario, or just portability if you're gone for a couple hours for a hike or something like that. It weighs a little bit, but take a couple, 1 or 2 cans of this with you. This is actually Costco brand. It's in a can, it takes up space in your pantry, and it is a little costly compared to the other methods, but it is so convenient. This is the method that I utilize most often, but I do have all these others available to me. So everyone, this is number 2 on my list, in no particular order, as I mentioned. This is a very convenient way to make coffee. The only prerequisite is you have to have enough power to do this. And what you would need is a portable generator that you use to power portions of your house, or you can have a solar generator or a solar system that I have here. I do have a video on how to make this if you're interested in doing something like this. I use this particular system to run either freezers or a small dorm fridge. But back to the coffee, this is a very simple way. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, and we'll go ahead and show you what this is all about. I use a regular cup, and I'm going to use a regular pod. So I have it hooked up right now via extension cord because I'm out in my garage. As you can see, this is right now, I have a kilowatt on here, and it's pulling, sorry about the glare. Glare's killing me here. But if you can see it, it's 1,200 and approximately 20 watts. So about 1220. So it's going to pull quite a bit. So make sure that you either have a generator that can handle that amount of wattage, or an inverter on a solar system that can handle that amount of wattage. You can see it's plugged directly into my inverter. Like with all Keurigs, it's got to heat up the elements. Okay, so we're ready. So put our pot in, get our flashing lights. We're gonna brew it. You can see the wattage goes down considerably. And now it's about 20, 13. and a little heating. It fluctuates, but the max is about, like I said, I've seen it hit 1250, so make sure that your generator or your inverter can handle that amount of wattage. Gonna go through its moans and groans to hopefully alleviate some of mine. So this is the number 3 method on our list. This one's also pretty simple, but it's a little more complicated than the Keurig, of course. What we have is a 500 watt portable solar generator or portable power bank. They're called different things. And we have that hooked up to a travel kettle. This thing collapses. It's silicone, it collapses down a little flatter. So we're gonna go ahead and get this water to boil here. Should take about 5 minutes, I think. And then we'll finish up. So let's go ahead and get this started. Get our AC going. All right. Powering up, we got our fan going. Okay, so this pulls a little more than I thought. I thought it was about 400. It's pulling 464 watts right now. Like I said, the max of this is 500, so we're pushing it right to its limit. These go for a couple $100 online. A lot of people use it for camping, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for this to finish, and then I'll show you how we actually make the coffee after we get the water to boil. Okay, so that took 6 or 7 minutes, and hopefully you can see we got some boiling water there. You see the steam coming up, so we're good to go there. So we're gonna unplug that. Well, let me turn off the power to this. Use about 10% of the battery on a 500 watt unit, so that's not too bad. So now that we have our hot water, sorry, I'm trying to do this and film at the same time. A little difficult. I'm not a pro videographer by any means. So, all right, so now what we have here is we have the pour over coffee dripper. So it's nice. It's a little carafe. It comes with a little insulator on it so you can handle it, and a filter. So I usually use 2 scoops. To each his own on that. You know, you want a little stronger or whatever. We got our hot water. We got our coffee in there. So this is a very popular method, the pour over method, and you can use it under a lot of circumstances. This is why it's so popular, and it makes some pretty good coffee, surprisingly. So what you do is you take our hot water, and we're going to pour it over. Now, what you want to do when you do this is you want to wet all the grounds first and let it set for a minute and absorb, because as the hot water hits the grounds, and it off gases, right? So it activates kind of the ground coffee, and if you keep pouring, it's going to actually infuse some of that in through the coffee and down into the carafe, and it's going to make your coffee a little more bitter. Now, if you're a bitter person, hey, if you like it that way, go for it. But I usually let it rest for a little bit, and then you know, I'm doing this for the sake of time. Then we just pour it in. And it's going to drip through. See the coffee going on there. I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Okay, now we're finished. I poured it all over. For the sake of time, I didn't show you the whole thing. But as you can see, we've got a nice little carafe full of coffee. So after that, you can actually filter it further if you want. There may be some grounds depending on the quality of the steel or the stainless steel mesh that they use in the brand that you buy. So, but I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here. And there we go. Nice, hot, steaming cup of coffee. So number 4 on our list is with a camp stove and some solid fuel. I happen to be using pellets. Just bought from one of the big home improvement stores. You can see it's a collapsible camp stove. And these can be had for about $20 online. And we're going to be using a stainless steel portable cup. You see these things fold in. Whoops, wrong way. They fold around the sides for portability. It's a stainless steel. So we're going to light this up and then get our water cooking. Now you can feel free to use any type of solid fuel that you have. You know, you can use sticks, small sticks, that type of thing. That's what these are meant to use. I happen to use the pellets because they're more convenient. So we're going to let this get hot, and we're going to put our water on and let it start to boiling. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes now. This is a super efficient way. These little camp stoves are super efficient and they boil water very rapidly. It's been 4 to 5 minutes. See, I grab it with my handles. Be careful because it's very hot. I'm going to use the same method that I used before. Let me set this down for 1 second and get a better grip on it. So, fire's still going. It's going to be burning for a while. So I'm utilizing the same method for this. I'm going to go ahead and pour this over. This is a little tricky, but it's going to run down the side. Like I said, you want to give it a minute to let it set. Let those coffee grounds degas. Ooh, I can smell it already. It smells good. Okay, see, I put out my fire. Don't want to leave that burning. This thing's nice and hot. I'm going to bring it inside. Let me get my cup. Can't do anything without that. That's what she said. All right, so same drill as before. We're using the pour over method, coffee dripper, just as we did before. And now, as far as these cups of coffee, you can cook them any way you want. And you can also prepare them any way you want. If you're, you know, I'm not using anything in mine just for the sake of, like I said, time management. But, you know, normally I would take a little cream and a little sugar. So for number 5 on our list, we're going to use this little ultra portable camp stove and some liquid fuel. This happens to be heat. You can use denatured alcohol. There's other types of fuel that you can use. I'm actually doing this one in my garage. This one, you can backpack with it, or you can see it's tiny. And then you use the liquid fuel. I'm going to go ahead and set this one up. And then, well, let me show you. So basically, these go for, like I said, 15 or 20 bucks. Just about everything I use here goes for about that amount. Can I get it with one hand? Yeah, there we go. So basically, it's all compact and ready to go. You fill this up with fuel. I'll pour some of that in. And then we have these. They go on top, and I'll show you how that sets up. These go together. That I can't do with one hand. I'm not that coordinated. Let's see. Come on, baby. I'm also looking through the camera, so I can't see. Here's the part where you laugh at me really hard. Hey, look at that. Got it. So you set that on there like that. And then we set our cup right on top of that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and filled it up with fuel. Got our heat. Let me put that back a little bit just to make sure. Safety first. So we'll go ahead and light it up. Yeah, you can see the flame. That's good. All right, so we've got our water. We'll go ahead and put it on there. Let that burn for a little bit. Okay, now it's been about 10 minutes. You can see our little ultra portable or carry around oven is cranking the heat right now. Literally, and no pun intended, but I went there. So anyways, it is boiling. It is done. So I'm going to let it set for a minute, and then we're going to take it over to our coffee station in the garage. Okay, once again, I've taken the liberty to pre-fill this with 2 scoops of my coffee grounds. We just came over from the ultra portable camp stove using the liquid heat, you know, the liquid fuel, and we got our water boiling hot. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to let these off gas. We're going to pour a little bit on here, let it off gas. You know, I really haven't noticed if that helps a lot. A lot of people say to do it. Some people say it doesn't matter. But I don't know if it's a psychosomatic thing or what. But, you know, Maybe I think it does make a difference. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I put creamer and sugar in my coffee anyways to take away the bitterness. So not sure if it helps or not, but you can either do it or not. Entirely up to you. We'll go ahead and finish this up. The pour over method, if you haven't noticed, is the predominant method that I use, just because it's so simple and the quality is really good. Surprisingly good. I mean, it's just like a drip coffee machine. Okay, so we just poured it all in and let it drip. We got a nice little carafe of coffee here. So I didn't show you this feature before, but these pour over coffee drippers actually come with a couple of accessories. So this one you just basically pop down in, and it keeps it a little warmer. We're gonna go ahead and pour this one. Now I am going to go cream and sugar this one up, and that'll be my coffee for this morning. So for number 6 on our list, we're going to use the sun oven and a regular cup, coffee cup. Let's see what our starting temperature is. So you see it's about 81 degrees before we put it in the sun oven. I have it all set up over here. Just got to open the door and put our cup in. Then we're going to let the sun do its work its magic, and we'll have some hot water here in a little bit. Now I do have a video on this as well. I actually made some cookie cake in this thing. So temperature's climbing already. It's 150 degrees in there, so we'll come out and take a measurement of this in a little while. Get our water nice and hot, ready for some coffee. Okay, back to our sun oven now. You can see it did reach a peak of about 300 degrees. Right now it's 250. It's starting to cloud up today. So let's go ahead and check, see what the temperature is. I think we're about 81. Remember, this is potable water already, so we're not trying to disinfect it. 152. So it's about 150 degrees, which is, plenty for coffee for me. Now we're going to reach in here and grab it. Remember, everything inside this sun oven is going to go up to temperature, so the handle is very hot. If the water's 151, the cup's going to be 151. So be careful you don't burn yourself. And we're taking it over to my makeshift coffee prep station here. I've had for a couple days. So just to do the videos. So this one we're going to do a little different. This one we prepared in the sun oven, took absolutely no energy, and we left it out there for about an hour. So this one we are going to use instant coffee. We're not using the pour over method, we're not using ground coffee, we're using instant coffee. This particular pack makes 6 ounces. I'm only going to use one so I don't waste them, but measure your water appropriately and use the correct amount that you like. So let me go ahead and grab a spoon and we'll mix it up and we'll give it a taste test just to see. And remember, this only got to 151. You can leave it in the sun oven as long as you want, or as short a time as you want, just to warm it up. However you like your coffee, the temperature, just keep checking it. Because I definitely don't want to burn my tongue. That is the worst feeling in the world, that and the roof of your mouth. So be careful, as always, when you're drinking hot coffee, because you're not going to have anybody to sue except yourself if you burn yourself. I poured a little of the water out to get us down to about the 6 ounce level for one pack of this. That's what it says. So let's go ahead and pop it in. And I want old school on everybody. Remember this? Remember Colonel Sanders used to hand these out all the time? Been a while for that, but they're still out there in the wild in some places, the good old spork. So who knows what you're going to have with you. I mean, you can use a clean, freshly peeled stick if you're out camping, or you can use straws that you take with you, or if you have regular silverware. Whatever you have to do the trick to get this all mixed up. Now, to be honest with you, I have not had instant coffee in years. since my grandmother's house. She used to swear by it, and not to hurt anybody's feelings, I would drink it. You know. So anyways, all right, I think we got this stirred up enough, and I let it cool for a few minutes because, like I said, I don't like to burn my tongue. That is the worst feeling in the world. So let me give it a sip. And not bad. It'll do in a pinch, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. If you're in a rough situation, this doesn't take up much space to store these. Then all you have to do is warm up water. You don't even have to really get it to boiling or heat it up. So not a bad option. So we're on day 7 of off-grid coffee. This is our final method, and this is by far the easiest, but yet can be the most infuriating way to do it. So we're gonna make homemade cold brewed coffee. It doesn't have to be cold. What you do is you take your water and you put coffee grounds in it, 1 part coffee to 4 parts water. That's what I found works best for me. Then you soak it 10 to 12 hours, and then you strain off any of the grounds that are left in the cup. So we're going to go ahead and start this process. So I'm going to put my coffee grounds directly into the water. Now it'll get soaked and do its thing. I don't even stir it. This is going to be in there for a while, so it'll all eventually get soaked and it'll start leaching into the water. Now what I also do while this is setting is I take a damp paper towel. I just like to cover it just in case there's any dust or anything in it. I mean, who knows? So I take a damp paper towel and I kind of squish it around the edges like this. And when that dries, you know, when paper towels dry, they kind of dry a little bit to shape or to form. So that'll create a nice little seal, as long as no animals, dogs, pets, or anything come and mess with it. So now we're just going to let this set for, like I said, 10 to 12 hours. Set yourself a timer, alarm, or something so you don't forget about it. And then come out and we'll finish this up. Okay, so here we are back. It's been about 11, almost 12 hours now. And I'm sorry about any poor lighting going on here because it's evening. So this is what we have. You can see looks a little soupy. Let me see if I can get it under some light. There we go. That's a little better. So as you can see, it looks a little soupy. Hopefully the coffee is leached into the water. So we're going to go ahead and pour it in and strain it. I can see, I don't want to make a big mess here. It's going to start slowing down. You see there's a lot of grounds in it. Left in the cup. But that's cool. We can wash that out. So hopefully most of the grounds have been strained out now. And we're going to pour this into our cup. Okay, now, so I cleaned up a little bit. Clean up my strainer, clean up my cup. There's a lot of ground stuck at the bottom of it, which happens a lot. They all sink down. But it appears as if the coffee was made. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, if done right, this is actually my favorite way to make coffee off-grid. It just takes some time, and like I said, it takes some patience to get the right ratio of coffee grounds to water and the time. So if you go about this method, you'll definitely have to tweak your recipe here and there. But as I said, it's evening now. I've let this sit for almost 12 hours. I'm going to take this inside and put it in the fridge, and then tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going to enjoy a nice cold iced coffee. So thank you everybody for joining me on this 7-day trip, how to make coffee off-grid 7 ways in 7 days. I had fun doing the video. Like I said, I haven't had instant coffee in a long time, and there's no right or wrong way to do this. You can use any combination of the methods that I used or the types of equipment that I used. It all comes down to personal taste, finance, etc. So You do what's right for you, but hopefully this has spurred you on and given you some thoughts and ideas on how you can actually provide coffee for yourself if the grid goes down or you're without power for a lengthy period of time, or maybe if you're just going camping. There's some lightweight options here as well you can take with you so you can have coffee wherever you go. I know it's important to a lot of people. I happen to love a cup in the morning. So if you did find some information useful in this video, please like it, share it with friends and family or whoever you think might get some good information out of it and might help them. And also hit the subscribe button so you'll know when I have a new video coming out. With that, I'll say cheers, here's to a good cup of coffee, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.